Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. Before we begin, I'd like to make a few announcements. First, we are proud to announce that Sabbat the Schism is officially out now. Not only does it delve into the history and lore of the sect, it opens up multiple role-playing options for fans of the game, including new playable clans, elder level powers, and much more. You can find your own copy of Sabbat the Schism in the link below. Second, I'd like to thank RS Experiments, our local musical talent, for graciously providing the custom music you've been enjoying so far, including our awesome main theme song called Haven Dweller. If you enjoy any of the music used during the stream, and you'd like to hear more, you can find a full library of Mark's work by clicking the link below to RS Experiments' SoundCloud page. Lastly, if you enjoyed tonight's session and you'd like to see more, be sure to follow both our channels. You can catch us live most Sundays at 7 p.m. CET by tuning in to youtube.com/@EriseGames or at twitch.tv/EriseGames. Alternatively, you can enjoy all our recorded sessions on YouTube. Links below. Remember to like, subscribe, and be sure to leave us feedback and suggestions in the comments below. We hope you enjoy the session. And without further ado, let us delve into the world of darkness in tonight's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. As night falls upon LA, we join Jack as he paces in his room in the haven they've acquired graciously from Vicus. As he paces, he looks to his laboratory, thinking of ways he can further his experiments. What is on Jack's mind?
So that he basically tried most, if not all, the options, like what he can kind of do to the vitae or blood. And at some point, probably like his eyes land on a latest batch of experiments from Blood Moon.
Yeah, the experiments rest in small, organized flasks, each labeled with the name of the donor and the methods you applied to it. You have some from Serena, some from Jasper, some from Olivia herself. And
Not from Olivia. I gave them.
You
Last
used
week.
Olivia's one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you
They
have
used
some
it.
from Jasper, some from yourself, some from Serena. All labeled basically with different applications of your latest invention, the apparatus that allows you to infuse mystic energies of the moon into the vitae.
I remember that Serena mentioned that she gave her blood to his Cage of Secrets applied.
She did indeed.
So the permission to consume wasn't really clear. So I'm probably might go and check if she's around.
How would you like to check? Text message?
Yeah, that's gonna be faster.
Okay. You may reach out in the secret PMs, though she may also answer there immediately.
Yeah.
You send a text checking if consuming the vitae would be appropriate right now. As you do, you continue brainstorming ideas. You remember vividly the process you've come up with to retain these frozen crystals, essentially made of pure vitae. You remember the use of the freezer along with a thorough and taxing application of your clan's discipline. And you remember the things you've experimented on with these crystals. The infusion of moonlight, the conducting of electricity through the crystals, the attempted mixing of these crystals with more shadow, more entropy from Jasper's magic. Some have yielded results, some haven't. Yet this one, well, you know it had a result, you've yet to test it.
Serena answered my question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, put my phone back in my pocket and ponder if it's gonna be better if I freeze it or if I don't.
Well, I'll have you roll. First of all, are you pondering if it's better to freeze or not? What?
Serena's blood.
Serena's blood.
One vial.
You may roll based on your experiments. Int occult.
And there's definitely not a specialty I can use for that, I know.
Okay.
That's a decent roll.
So, freezing using just the freezer, you are unsure if this would yield actual results, or at least differing results. In fact, it might it might remove some of the potency you've infused in the vitae, especially since you've kept it preserved with the shadows. Freezing it with the shadows, however, while it is far more taxing on you, it will essentially prolong the amount of time this vitae can be exposed to elements without losing its properties.
Well, it's already blood of Malkavian with blood moon infusion, so what a little obtenebration would do.
So you're going to try and apply it?
Yeah, well, like the freezing with the shadow.
Mm-hmm. All right. You open the freezer. Place the you place the flask with the blood moon infused vitae in it, and as you close the freezer, you extend your hands and you focus the shadows. And I need you to roll me, for this specific one, I'll have you roll. It would be a cult with something. Let's say stamina in a cult.
Do rituals apply in this one, or not really?
Rituals, I don't think they would apply. This is an experiment. You don't have like a set way of doing things yet.
Yeah. But I have a prayer. All the players in this campaign do. The prayer to Pelese.
Ah, I see.
And it saved my ass. 2 8s, a 10, and 2 1s.
Okay. All right. So you focus on the shadows. You essentially visualize the freezer essentially consumed by darkness. The interior of the freezer almost matching the stillness of the abyss itself. And as you do so, you feel a slight warping sensation in your chest. And as soon as that happens, it's almost like this becomes effortless. And after about an hour of concentration, you lower your hands, knowing that you are done with the process.
I'll check the freezer. I remember what usually the bloodstones are looking like. Maybe, like, if this time it's differently. Somehow.
So you open the freezer, and you see the flask looking as it did before. Only this time it has a small crack on it. Didn't break, but it definitely cracked slightly. Seems absolute zero can have interesting effects on materials.
Yeah.
And inside, the vitae has, well, the result of the experiment has been something a bit out of the ordinary for your usual experiments. Usually they retain the shape they were frozen in, and you can then, break them, and usually you get these almost broken glass shapes. This one ended up as a perfect sphere inside the flask.
That's really interesting. I'll basically send the message to Serena that this time the blood flows differently, and probably attach a picture of it, but not on my hand. That's gonna fuck the picture up.
Mm-hmm. All right. Serena receives this on her phone, and if she answers, you'll get a response.
Mm-hmm.
As you await a response, do you remove the sphere from the flask at all? Do you remove the flask from the freezer?
Yeah.
In the first place. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you remove the flask from the freezer, at first you almost have to like pull it free from the small layer of ice that has formed on the metal. And as you pull the cork of the flask off, the flask itself dissolves into dust. And all you are left with in your hand is the perfect sphere of vitae.
That is something that wasn't supposed to happen.
It's completely new. During your experiments, you've never seen something like this.
I'm gonna go to Serena's room and like knock on the door if Olivia's there. Though I have a feeling she might not be.
You knock on the door. You wait. Silence.
Looks like I'm all alone here, but Serena told me she's gonna be here in 20 or so minutes.
Do you wait?
I might wait just because I don't know. I'm a bit biased when it comes to reading my thoughts.
Okay.
She might check if it worked.
All right. You wait on the living room or your...
Living room.
Okay. As you wait in the living room, do you hold the sphere or do you place it on the table?
I'll examine it.
In your hand, then.
Yeah.
Okay. I need you to roll once more stamina and occult.
Mm-hmm. And pleasure.
All right. As you examine the sphere, once more you feel this warping sensation in your chest. And it's almost like the sphere seems more and more familiar to you as you examine it. Almost like looking at a picture of someone you knew. Eventually, after a few minutes of examination, the front door of the haven opens, and in walks with somewhat mud, dirty boots. Serena.
Right. So, again, from the top. What's up?
I guess it would be quicker if you just take a look.
Serena looks at the ball. Okay, what am I looking at again?
That's your blood, actually.
Oh,
But
that's my blood.
yes.
Interesting reaction.
Uh-huh. Usually doesn't form into perfect spheres.
Hmm. Serena walks over and like picks it up and like examines it.
Jack, you are currently holding it. Do you allow Serena to pick it up?
Yeah. It's her
Serena,
blood after all.
I need you to
Yeah.
roll flat stamina, please.
A flat stamina.
Yes.
Really? Oh my god.
Okay. What is your
Oh my
current
gosh.
willpower?
9.
Okay. You hold the sphere, and for a moment you don't really see anything remarkable about it. As you hold it, however, you notice that your nails turn slightly dark. And then this darkness quickly begins spreading through your hand. You quickly let go of it, but 3 of your fingers, so your thumb and 2 of the fingers you were using to hold the sphere, become blackened, and you lose all sensation on them. You take 1 point of ag, and you also lose 1 point of temporary willpower. It doesn't
Jack?
hurt, mind you. It doesn't hurt. It
Anymore.
just feels numb as it happens.
Well,
I didn't do anything differently.
Well, what happened to my fingers clearly looks more something from your obtembration. Or whatever you
Kinda
have.
looks like frostbite.
I mean, I can still use them. Like, they work and it doesn't hurt. They're just black.
I really didn't use anything differently. It was a standard procedure as I always use it.
Okay, look, you've been holding it, it was fine. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't know how it's gonna affect you if you eat it, but at the same time, you're the one who made it. Maybe, its secrets were protected from me, even though it was technically my blood.
Well, I guess. I guess it tried to protect some secrets.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you anything about it. I've literally just given you my blood while I had Cage of Secrets active.
Well, I guess it's the only way is to see if it works. I'll.
Would you like me to draw a card just to check that you don't die?
Sure.
Okay, I'll draw a card. Just one. Basically, can Jack die if he takes it?
By the look on Jack's face, it's obvious he's gonna take it anyway.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Look, I have 8 successes to divide and 2 successes to interpret. I'm assuming I will just draw a yes or no.
They can hear you.
Sorry. And your specific question is, can he die
Yep.
if he takes
Will he
it?
die if he swallows this?
Okay, will he die? You draw the moon, though you aren't entirely convinced.
Well,
Your studies of
most likely.
fate
Most likely,
and...
no. Most likely, no.
No. That's
Most likely, you
reassuring.
won't die.
From your studies of fate, Serena, it's clear that if he just takes it, no. But fate isn't a straightforward thing.
Basically, 95% chance that you won't die.
Well, even if 95% chance that I won't, it's
But,
education.
whatever else might happen, Serena just draws her hands.
We are gonna see when we're gonna see.
Okay.
Not like you're afraid of death, are you?
Not even.
So, Jack, am I correct in assuming by that motion that you just pop it in your mouth?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
The trademark La Sombra Munchables.
Flat stamina, please.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fuck.
Pelese.
That's gonna end well, Pelese. No, my fucking god. Well, 5% chance, more like 1.
Okay, so you consume it, and Serena,
Yeah?
while we are going to pause your part in this scene for now, basically what you see immediately before we go into this specific vision that Jack is going to have, you basically see Jack, swallow this sphere, and almost immediately he tenses up, almost like someone having a seizure, and his eyes go pitch black and begin to rot away.
Ooh.
Jack,
Ooh.
you take this small experiment of yours, and as you consume it, you don't feel any different for a moment, but as you look to Serena, it's almost like your environment melts around you, and then Serena herself melts around you, melts in front of you, and you are left in complete darkness. You still sit, you feel yourself sitting on the couch. Looking around, you don't see the couch, though. What do?
I'll try to, I guess, perceive anything. Maybe I hear something odd.
I won't even have you roll for this.
Mm-hmm.
You see, hear, feel nothing. There's not even air around you. If you try to inhale, it feels empty.
Well, she definitely told me about 5%, I guess.
Do you move at all, or do you simply wait?
I'll try to move.
Okay. So you stand up, and as you do, it's almost like you know for sure that the couch or whatever you were sitting on isn't there anymore.
Mm.
And almost as if by instinct, you just move your hand slightly forward and you touch this surface. Clearly some sort of glass. As you look into it, I need you to roll courage as you begin to see an image form mimicking your movements, and you see yourself on the other side of this glass.
That's a decent roll.
You manage to steel yourself, but you recognize what this is. It's an incredibly large mirror. And the image on the other side, this vision of you, it is exactly you as you remember yourself during your embrace. Can you describe to us what you are wearing in this reflection?
Probably like white shirt. Nothing too expensive. Just normal suit pants. Normal like business boots.
And
And
undoubtedly,
maybe like some souvenir from Liliana.
and undoubtedly, and this is my personal theory, you may confirm or deny, a set of dog tags still around your neck.
Yeah.
And as this version of you with slightly more lively features seems to mimic your movements, eventually you see something different. It frowns, though you do not feel yourself frown. And then it looks to the sides, and then back at you.
I'll nod, acknowledging it. And like point to my ear where it can hear me.
The figure seems to examine you up and down, and then seems to be distracted by something. Something it clearly heard. It looks around, and then it looks behind itself, looking into the vast darkness behind it. And as it does, I need you to roll me a quick perception empathy. All right. You can tell that while it was on edge before, it's now relaxed. It seems to have whatever confusion it might have had, whatever fears it might have had, it's fully accepting now. It understands what's happening. And the reflection doesn't turn around. It simply vanishes into nothing.
I'll check behind me. Maybe there's something reflects too.
You turn around, and though you don't see it, you can tell there's something there. Presence that feels awfully familiar, though at the same time, something completely new.
I don't think that introductions are in order, but I'm still Jack, of assumingly your blood. And I guess it's a pleasure to finally meet you.
You got my attention.
I guess. So the stories are lies, because I assume you would eat us already if you came back.
The stories aren't lies. They just haven't happened yet.
Do you happen to know this fella that they met last week? He was awfully interested in finding you.
Can't say I do. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you need to understand what I need you to do. You're not the first I've tried to contact, but you're the only one with methods that work. Even if you had to unwittingly call in a favor from someone you didn't know owed you. Now, I'm sure you are aware of petty rivalries our clan may have.
Some of.
Good. There are two things I need you to understand. One of them is the cause behind one of those rivalries. The other one is a way to prevent you and your kin from dying horribly.
I'm all ears.
Oh, careful what you wish for. Unlike my colleagues, who may have some fondness for their progeny, I need you to understand something first. There's a reason why I need every one of my descendants to be sturdier than most. There are things you cannot trust that you are intrinsically calling upon, whether you know it or not. And there are games that are being played far above you, where you are nothing but a tool. You will be nothing but a tool unless you know how to remove the player behind you and become it to some degree. But games have rules, and because of that, something has to take your place as a pawn. I'll let you
I
decipher
guess
what
so.
that means. But first I need to reveal some truths to you. They might feel petty, but I assure you there's larger implications than what meets the eye when you see it. So, borrowing a favor from an ally, I'm going to allow you to see something. Whatever you do, just act as you see fit. It will feel more natural than you think. Are you ready?
Understood. I am.
Good. And as you hear that, it's almost like the shadows around you begin to seep into your mind. And the world around you seems to shift. You see yourself in... First, you see yourself kneeling on blood-soaked dirt. Thousands upon thousands of dead surround you. All of them wearing either peasant clothes or ancient-looking armaments. In front of you stands a city. Construction like you've never seen before. Spiraling onto a large tower at its center. A tower you recognize as home to some extent. You look down to see your own body. The skin tone, although it's not yours, Jack, it is the skin tone you remember always having. And in front of you, a tall woman with very, very dark skin, adorned with clothes you recognize as tantamount to royalty or even godhood, draped with gold and precious stones, is a woman you recognize as, put simply, the love of your life. And yet she holds a sword pointed at your throat.
I'll give her a defiant look. You realize this is the game we're both gonna lose.
You're short-sighted. And she speaks with a voice you recognize, though it's completely unfamiliar to you. You're short-sighted. You always lacked ambition. You always lacked drive. And most of all, you lack the willpower needed to decide what's best for us. You can't look out for him anymore. You can't pick up after him. You can only look after yourself. And right now, this is what we need to do. I'm done being a pawn. Apparently, you're not tired of it.
And who's gonna take your place as a pawn?
I'm not the type of creature you can replace. Remember, at the table, I may not have sat next to him, but that seat was always empty and reserved for those who are willing to take what's theirs. I intend to be that from now on. And we both know, among all of us, I'm the one who deserves it. Not you, and not your prophet friend, not your occultist ally. Me. So, out of respect for the memories we've built together, I'll allow you to leave. But the city's on fire and it needs leadership. It needs a queen. So depart before the rest of us put an end to you.
Very well.
And as you say these words, darkness envelops you. And you feel yourself falling to the infinite before you realize you're still standing in that darkness. The presence still in front of you. So now you know the origin of one of our rivalries. You understand why
Yeah, I do.
we can't ally ourselves with those whose blood is tainted.
Yes.
So now, I need to reveal to you the second truth. The steps I need you to take. The monumentous task that will change history itself if you perform it to the letter. I need you.
Sounds ambitious. For me. But I guess I'm the best option right now.
Perhaps I've chosen poorly if you consider this ambitious. It's only natural. Remember what you are.
I do.
Good. And don't fail me, otherwise I'm sure your power can be put to better use. First, I'll need you to seek someone. You've allied yourself with one who calls himself Taffington, yes?
More or less.
Good. Take his blood back. He's a disappointment, bootlicker by nature. He deserves nothing. Once you take his blood back, I need you to seek out someone else. I'll impart that knowledge when it's more convenient to me. You will consume them. And after we're done with this preparation, whatever you do not resist what follows. Are we clear?
We absolutely are.
Good. I expect you to do great things of your own volition. My help will be limited, but I will keep you so long as you prove yourself worthy of said help. Don't disappoint me, Jack. I'm not as benevolent as my colleagues.
I hear you loud and clear.
Good. Now the one I called upon to have this conversation with you. He demands a price be paid, but I believe you'll find that that price has already been collected. Maybe not in the way he wanted, but it always makes me smile to see that bastard squirm from time to time. Good luck taking care of yourself. Prove to me you don't need it. And as that happens, as he says these words, you feel yourself falling backwards with this unbearable, stinging pain that jolts down from your face all the way down your neck. And it's hard to pinpoint where the pain is, but it's very clear that it's somewhere here. It's overwhelming. It's hard to focus on anything else. Though, as you regain your senses, you feel your muscles relax and your elbows rub against the fabric of the couch. And Serena, what do you do as Jack falls backwards, his eyes essentially evaporating into dust in the air?
Your eyes just evaporated into dust.
Very descriptive.
That's that's
Choo, choo.
That-
Choo.
I don't know why that happened.
What happened to you? It's your eyes just went pitch black and then they turned into dust.
I fell into the nothingness. So a giant fucking mirror.
Oh, wait,
So
a giant
me-
mirror. Wait, you went
Yes.
in. Wait, that's how I see the big M.
Well, I guess I've seen the big M2.
Okay, so
But but yeah, my reflection just checked something and disappeared.
okay, so I'm assuming the eyes went away because this shouldn't have you shouldn't have been doing stuff with my blood.
I guess.
So it was a
But-
failure.
No. I had a
No?
chat with presumably minded Olivia?
Oh,
I don't
okay. So, wait, you went into a group call with Big M, and then the Big L joined in.
You're awfully sassy for not El Sombra.
I'm awfully what?
Sassy.
Sassy. You mean sassy?
Yes.
If you say it like sussy, it means I'm suspicious.
Okay.
I'd like to think I'm both.
You are.
Well, here's the thing. Here's a little fun fact for you. First time I went to talk to Big M, I basically started off by being sassy, and by pointing out that perhaps that is the only respectable way to address the Big M. By sassing. So did you sass
Mine's a
your...
bit different. Nah, not really.
Okay, so
I've
why...
just seen some wild shit though.
Really? What did you see?
Tall black woman telling me to fuck off and trying to kill me.
Okay. Very vague. Can't tell you anything about
I
it.
assume that was Ruark's however much grandma.
You think that's a Ventrante?
Yes.
And she was a tall black woman. Iris
I
pauses.
swear on those whatever that yes.
Iris just raises her hand with like looking into the distance with a cookie smile. Holds up a finger as a just let me process that.
Jack still says shit.
Then has a few laughs and then is like, for whatever reason, if historically that makes sense. But I've always sort of, for whatever reason, it was of this man, a blonde man, this idea. But then again, looking at the Ventru clan and their Eurocentric patriarchal, history, that does make sense, doesn't it? That, that would be not recorded. I'll let you know.
Weaponized propaganda 101.
Well, great to know. So, I'm assuming now I can really like shake your hand and be like, "Welcome to the club."
I guess. I wouldn't see your hand though.
Oh, right, right. I mean, I could, I could take some. I do have some material that I could use.
You
Would
better
you?
check if you're not gonna get slapped on the wrist for that too.
I mean,
If you turn off if you turn off the light, I can feel myself kinda good around here.
no, I meant, I mean, I can just give you some eyesight back. You're still gonna have to heal damage and all, you know? It just you'll be
Yes,
able to
and
see.
if Malgav took my eyes, you
Oh,
better
did
check. I don't fucking know.
uh, I'm just going to, I don't know, like vibe with the Mulcaven Madness Network for that.
You do.
Miguel, can I get a feel of whether I can just like do that?
Hard to say. I mean, you could definitely ask, but you know the cost of asking too many questions.
Yeah, but I meant like, you know, like just like a general feel from the Madness Network.
She's just gonna pull. I'm just gonna open the connection and perceive it.
I say you wouldn't be able to discern, really.
I mean, I have been recently communing with
That's
the big
more.
quite
That's even more reasons why you wouldn't be able to perceive it that much.
like I have been communing quite a bit, so and generally I do have some, you know, feedback recoil, you know, a little bit of leftover madness. So
Up to you if
I
you
guess
want to
you're.
risk it.
And I am currently also in the process of learning something. I wouldn't want to, you know, fuck that up for myself. And from what I see, I think you should be able to heal it. So I can get you
Just
blood.
bring me some blood.
Yeah, I can get you that. No worries. How much do you think you'll need? One vessel, two vessels?
One should probably do the trick.
Okay, I'll get you the vessel.
Bring two because
Yeah,
it's kind
fair
of.
enough. Fair enough. I'll get you the two vessels. But if that was the payment that was taken, then who am I to argue with the big M? I need my brains for other work too, so you know.
I'm not asking you to argue.
But
Your safety is as much important to whatever we do as with almost anybody else's.
so basically, the little orb became a group chat voice call. That's good to know. That's good to know.
I'm not sure I'm gonna pull this one again, but yes.
I'm glad the Malkavian Madness Network has been able to provide you secure and connection for your voice calls. How would you rate the connection? Was the connection good? Was the sound clear?
Surprisingly, yes.
Good,
Also,
good.
keep in mind what I haven't mentioned. Ventra told that, oh, at that point of view, my friend, did she say friend prophet?
Prophet
Your
friend and
prophet
occultist
friend
ally.
and your
Prophet,
occultist
yeah.
ally.
the prophet friend and occultist ally, and I assume you know who we're talking about.
Well, if that's all Auntie's talking, well, I mean, there's one very well-known prophet. Okay.
Yes, and somebody stole one of my occult books. Well, not stole, repurposed, I guess.
I'm sure the eldest appreciates your quick correction of the term you used.
Yes. So yeah, I guess these three have been rubbing shoulders long ago.
Aha, so Sabbat was indeed an inside job.
We're not talking about that, I guess.
Well, I know, but the Sabbat was an inside job that was planned. It was like 9/11.
I'm not really sure that fight against how many, I guess 10 antediluvians and whatever, is equal to 9/11.
Metaphorically. And you're pretty sure that Iris just waved her hand, in a dismissive way? It's the same way when she said about cake layers.
So yeah, blood.
Okay, I'll organize something. Do you need? Can you get back to your room?
I guess I'll try to use
Okay.
shadows to navigate.
Okay, and you can basically hear Iris's heels clacking away.
Mm-hmm.
And sometime later, you don't know how much time has passed. Maybe an hour or so.
Mm.
You hear clacking up the stairs, your door opening, and two dull thuds.
Well, actually, since you're going
What?
out to collect humans,
Yes.
I need you to tell me how you are doing so, keeping in mind repercussions.
Yes, so I'll probably travel to another area outside of East LA so that it's not. Actually, I'd call Marcus and ask him if he has any enemies he was planning to meet with the fishes.
Good point. Good thinking. Allow me to roll something in the background. Marcus, basically, mid-call, Marcus basically says, hold on, boss, I just gotta... And you hear, like, the mic on the phone being covered, but you can still kind of make out what's said on the other end. He says something along the lines of, what? What do you mean? Oh shit, hold on to them. One sec. Boss, are you still there? And
Yep.
right. Well, you have perfect timing.
As I usually do.
Do you have room for 3?
I mean, I can always make room for free.
Good. Does it matter what happens to them beforehand?
They just need to be alive.
Yeah, okay. Viably alive? Or are we talking like...
They're not gonna survive long after.
Cool. Yeah, just stop by
Basically,
when you can.
Yeah, just ping me the location.
Yeah, just stop by when you can. They'll be ready when you get here.
Okay. Well, on my way.
And as you say that, you just hear him sort of distance the phone away from himself, and you hear him say something along the lines of, Okay, bring him there, but just make sure I don't see any of it. You know how I get with this type of shit. And then the call-ins.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Jack,
And
as hours pass and you just figured out where the fucking stairs are, you're essentially crawling up, trying not to fall, as your sense of balance is quite affected by the fact that you can see now. You finally reach the door to your room. You push it open to hear the front door open and the clacking of heels, along with sounds of what you recognize pretty thoroughly as dragging feet.
Mm-hmm. Upstairs.
Serena, she's gonna put one of those to be embraced by the
Man in the wall.
yes, by the vitae dispenser, and so that he doesn't expire. But the other one too, she's gonna drag up to Jack and be like, "Here you go, courtesy of my ghoul. They were gonna meet
Send
the
him my
fishes.
kindest regards.
Hey, organized crime does pay well in food."
In money too.
That too.
And I'll dig into one
Mm-hmm.
and
How much?
think like, mm, let's say like
I'll just
6.
ask, is it more than 3?
It's gonna be more than 3.
Okay. Let me check something. Okay. All right. And you're just gonna take that blood, right?
I'm not gonna kill them outright. I'm gonna leave them barely hanging.
Okay. Well, you definitely know that barely hanging is taking 4 blood points. Any more than that, and they're on the road to death. As they've lost way too much fucking blood to survive without medical attention.
Let's take 4 from both, and then I can see what effect has my blood with blood moon infusion.
Okay. So you take 4 from each. So unless they go to a hospital, they are going to die. Basically, that's what that means.
Yeah.
And as you know, I would assume use what blood you collect from each to begin repairing the damage. You also test out your own blood with the blood moon infusion. And as you bite into it and consume it, once again you feel this warping in your chest. And you basically can heal the ag, 1 point of ag, for free.
Ooh.
But it is going to take the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can fast forward some time as you heal. And while we do so, we'll take a very quick break and return in about 15 minutes.
See you around, guys.
Yeah. See you soon. Welcome back. We now join Serena on the following night, as she walks among the woods around the location she's been made aware the cathedral is.
Oh, well, she was aware that where the cathedral was, she bought the land.
Mm-hmm. And accompanying her is Olivia, carrying what looks like a quite weathered but still very well kept bag that has one of those places that goes over the shoulder. So you said you wanted to accomplish some ritual? You care to give me more details?
Well, yes. I mean, our goal eventually is to go to Enoch, right? And let's be honest, our enemies have been there who knows how long? Centuries? Year thousands? They definitely have the upper hand. That's their territory. And I don't think any amount of necromancers is going to give us, you know, the is going to give us the advantage. They're better in that sense than us. So we need something, or rather, someone support whose domain that is. And given the primary path of communion with spirits that I have access to, and whose dominion that also is, I am going to contact that deity, that being, Televelis, because it's not only the god of forest, but also the god of death. And I'd assume a god of death can grant us the necessary, can give us the necessary advantage if we are to fight them there. And we will have to go there, otherwise we will never be rid of them.
An interesting thought. Well,
It's like in the myth when Orpheus went down to plead with Hades. Like when the Nordic gods pleaded with Hela to release Baldur. We will be going into that territory, and we need the blessing.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose I should also, for lack of a better word, retract my past sentiments.
About?
It was a mistake to restrict your research. There, I said it.
I appreciate that. I mean, ironically, I've still ended up here.
I guess fate does have a funny way of working things out.
Yes. Besides, I think it's perfectly valid for somebody of the line of prophets to appeal to such beings. Rather appropriate.
I suppose. Doesn't make me any less...
Reserved? Well, I also have my reservations, but
Well,
we won't be able.
At least I'm here to correct whatever mistakes you might make that might put you in danger.
Exactly.
We can't afford a loss of a good researcher in a time like this.
Yeah. So I hope that my proficiency in Way of Nature and some better connection with Way of Earth is going to be enough. Ideally, it would have been better if I'd have more for the Way of Water.
There is a way we can find such a spirit.
But it's more so. It's not really directly related to the Way of Nature research. It's more on a metaphysical level, so to say. Earth, soil, and water are the yin, the darkness, the elements that are associated with the death and the quiet. And from it, of course, nature springs forth new life and growth. We'll see if it's enough. Either way, I have researched, and to such gods, blood offerings are always welcome. Life. And other. What would be good is perhaps I'll see what prey could be brought. Either something that should die, something which is passing would be good, or something that disbalances. Perhaps we'll be lucky and there will be a poacher in the area, or somebody who pollutes the place. But if not, I can always... My blood should be also enough, and a ritualistic burial within the site that has been sanctified would do well. So to say, to perform the last rites so that I may pass, so that I may enter the domain of Teliavelis.
I'm not entirely comfortable with the concept yet, but... Well, I suppose it's best if you do it with my assistance than without it.
Well, I would be needing your assistance either way.
And regardless, I am fully aware you tried to do it without my assistance.
I'd have to ask somebody else to do the last rites.
And so you have in the past. And Olivia looks to you with a rather displeased, annoyed look.
Serena gives her a small smile. Look, We are living in rather unprecedented times, are we not?
I suppose so.
So, and if the times are unprecedented, then acting as if they're not as such would be rather silly.
Yes, though suicide is still to be avoided. Yes, please.
Well, I'm not planning to commit suicide. We're just going to ritually perform the last rites. It's not like I can suffocate under the earth, can I?
I suppose not.
Exactly.
Right, so what task shall we perform first? Do you wish to find...
Well, I've already started setting up the area. So let us first. Let me first see if there's something else that can be added to my blood to sanctify the site. And Serena will point out that, like the little effigies and the little dolls and the little altars and the faces she's carved in the woods. I've already been preparing this place, so let me just see if there's something that is good. And she's going to reach out with the Eyes of the Earth, which in this area doesn't require for her to do anything anymore,
Mm-hmm.
since she's attuned.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to see if there's any poachers or like humans, like acting like assholes towards nature first.
All right. Well, as you search the area, you do find that although this area is quite remote, as I've established before, it's one of the reasons why it is
Yeah.
an area where the cathedral is being built. There are spots on the outskirts of this general area, spots that are technically not within your property, that have remnants from, you'd estimate, camping, like established campsites, that people didn't clean up after. You see
Well,
essentially a campfire that was, kept for a bit and then went out or was put out. And the more alarming thing is that all over the area, you see essentially discarded, uh, plastic bags, trash, cans, bottles, essentially a bunch of trash thrown in the far surroundings, mainly in one direction. From the wear and tear of the campsite, I can allow you to roll to see how frequently this is used, and if it's like a
if
spot that you can prepare something at.
what do I roll?
Well, there's a few spots like this, so I can basically tell you which one it is if you get enough successes. I would say wits and investigation, please.
1, 2, 3, 3 successes.
One of the particular campsites seems to have quite a worn out vegetation in certain areas, and there are spots in that campsite where the grass barely grows anymore. It is also not covered by the trees up top, so it's sort of like a clearing in the woods. You can also see that the campsite has basically been established with quite sizable rocks, and the area, while it's somewhat dirtied by the exposure to the elements, it is very clearly used so frequently that most of the debris you'd expect, like natural debris, like twigs, rocks, dirt, growing grass, all of that stuff, it seems to basically be cleared out often enough that it doesn't pile up in a natural way.
Yes, but is there anyone like that who I can grab?
Not currently, but it is a frequently used spot. Frequent enough that you could set up something.
But not tonight.
Yeah, you could set up something tonight to maybe capture someone. You could also just keep watch in the area and wait for someone to show up. Visit regularly.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm going to look for some wild animals that look to be, like close to death.
Mm-hmm. Let me roll something in the background. Because this one is a bit more... Okay, that's even. So you do spot at one point a hare that has been clearly, caught by a predator, but seems to have escaped, though its wounds are too grave. It now rests in its home, and by the looks of the injury, it's going to bleed out and die in there.
Actually, I'm gonna right now, I want to roll my occult.
Mm-hmm.
So basically with intelligence, to figure out whether like to grab the hare or also like its predator. What's best? Both of them? Or just a hare? Because technically I am still a predator, you know?
I'll give you this one for free. Grabbing the hare would be sufficient. Grabbing the predator also, and putting in that extra effort, could yield some better results, but you don't need it.
Okay. So I'm gonna look for that predator as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to say, so that it's like the cycle. The hare is about to die because of the predators that were catching it, and I'm the predator that caught the predator that was catching the hare. So to say, this cycle of nature, like the bigger eats the smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to locate that.
All right.
I'm going to tell Cecil, like Olivia, I'm going to say, so, there's where's the hare is, and I'm going to say that I myself am going to go catch the predators that attack that hare.
Do you require it alive?
Yes, bring the hare alive back.
Should I keep it alive if I find it dying?
It's a check, Miguel.
Best not to interfere. That's basically the only hint I'll give
Okay.
you. Given your studies, I can give you that much for free.
Yeah. No. Its blood will be sufficient, whether it dies or not. It's part of the natural cycle.
All
And
right. Where should I
and
meet you
I'm
after?
right here. Back
All
here.
right. Olivia basically pokes their finger with one of the fangs and then goes up to a tree and just smudges a drop of blood on it. And you see slight sprouting fungus coming out of it.
And I'm going to find that predator and use the trees to travel to it.
Both you and Olivia go your separate ways. You begin to track down the predator. As you move through the woods, your vision...
No. So I'm going to use Eyes of the Earth to locate it, right?
I'm aware.
And then I'm going to, step
aware.
through the forest.
Ah,
Okay.
okay. I see. So,
Yeah, so
as Olivia
I'm
walks
going to-
away, and you very poignantly seem to wait in place, you search within your expanded awareness. I wouldn't call it vision. Awareness. And you, in your mind, images flash of the life within these woods, trying to track down where this predator might have gone. You spot at one specific area signs of a hunt taking place, signs of a small animal being held down, prepared for the kill, and signs of it escaping. You deduce that the predator might be nearby, and so you search and search. And eventually, you find a small, essentially a tree that has been toppled somewhat by the wind, creating this almost small cave under its roots. And as you use the awareness of the tree to check under it, you see a wolf, female from what you can tell, taking care of 2 cubs. All of them seem to be quite thin, though the adult seems to be the thinnest. Her mouth is still wet with blood, which she continues to lick from her muzzle, though you see no prey at their feet. You deduce this must be it.
Well, that is a bit more... Iris looks to it and thinks, if I could take the mother, but that would require me to take the 2 cubs. As in, grows them up. That would be the payment. Because as long as the mother is alive, the cubs still can live, and that would be more lives than what she was bringing to the table. Like the unknown. Because in pagan traditions, you don't... You can bring like a young female with no kids, and that is symbolic for all the progeny, or a male, but this is already a bit...
It's a bit complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, so she'd have to probably take the 2 cubs for herself and feed them until they grow up.
Quite a bit of dedication.
Quite a bit of was something that is usually asked from you. So yeah, she's going to go and take the mother.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna come out.
So you step towards one of the trees, and it's weird. You've done this a few times, and it hasn't gotten any less jarring. You step into the tree almost, and it offers 0 resistance. And before you really process what that feels like, you step through and come out right above that small den where the mother and her cubs rest.
I'm going to I'm going to wait until the mother is alerted and comes to defend her cubs.
Which is almost immediate. The sound as you step through immediately stops. And you hear quite active rustling of the foliage as the grown wolf distances herself from the den, sees you, and begins baring her fangs and growling in your direction, trying to
I
dissuade you.
activate Eyes of the Beast to
Mhm.
see properly.
Yeah.
And bare my own fangs and hiss at her.
Okay. Roll me charisma and intimidation, please. Because you are not trying to convince her that you're dangerous. You're just showing that you are.
5 successes.
Immediately as you bare your fangs with your eyes beginning to glow, the weakened wolf begins to essentially do this snarling, faint bite in your direction, clearly agitated, and you do notice that the tail of the wolf has retreated in between its legs, but it remains trying to dissuade you, very clearly not wanting to fight.
Yeah, so I'm going to use my quicken celerity to basically quickly attack and twist the neck.
And I won't even have you roll for that, just pay the blood, and in one swift motion with a crack, the terrified, weak creature falls in your arms almost.
And then I go into the den and I get the 2 cups out.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
to
are
each
still
of them,
very, very young. And they don't see you necessarily as a danger yet, though they do seem not to approach you immediately, almost as if by instinct seeing you as...
Yeah, I basically make a cut on my palm and offer them my blood. They are to grow strong and powerful. And right now, this blood will feed them.
It takes a millisecond after your palm is open for the demeanor of the 2 cubs to immediately change. And as soon as you lower your hand, they lap it up. I won't have you spend a full blood point for each. Instead, you spend 1 blood point, and each of them receives half of that, which is enough for a creature of their size.
And I'm basically going to get them out of there and sort of say put them in my in my coat so that I can carry them while the Wolf Mother will be over my shoulder and like start walking back. And a bit smearing like a bit blood on each of their foreheads. Iris will smile and say, Phobos and Deimos.
I will make a note. Let me pull up this. Sorry, I just had to make an immediate note instead of leaving it for the end and reviewing because that is just way too adorable. Back in character.
What is adorable? Phobos and Deimos?
Yes, it is very cute that you adopted two doggies and give them names immediately after the moons.
Phobos and Deimos.
Yes,
So, do you like the names?
I do very much. Back in character. As you walk through the woods, not being able to carry living creatures with you as you travel like you did minutes before, it takes you a while to reach the location where Olivia awaits. They hold in one arm, coming out of their stomach, the frail, dying rabbit, and seem to be looking around, vigilant. And as soon as they spot you, their brow furrows. I see you got more than just the hunter.
Well, it seems the fates have already decreed at least one way that I shall be, how to say, dedicating myself. The mother was weak, and so was the cubs. I either could take her life as a bigger predator or not. But as she was with cubs, then my dedication shall be to see them grow enough so that they can fend for themselves. They shall be good guards of this area, either way.
I see. They're quite small, not capable enough yet.
Not
Perhaps I
yet,
should
but
modify them?
no. Blood and food, we have plenty of meat and flesh about us. Let them grow as they are, and let their names be the spirit that will guide them. I've named them Phobos and Deimos.
I fail to see the practicality of this, but I'll trust your judgment.
Either way, let us begin. And Iris will basically begin by getting out another knife, not the one she uses for the Vaultery, but one that's metal with a silver handle. And first she got the mother wolf, and taking out the innards, she basically digs a hole in. So they're in this sort of like in a not a clearing because there's still wooden, like like the crowns of the trees above them, but there's trees around them with like the faces and dolls and little shrines. So under each tree where there's a face or a shrine, she'll be digging a hole and adding in the innards. After which she will basically hang up the corpse and drain the blood into a metal basin, so to say. And as she's doing...
all of this material, I should mention, comes from the bag Olivia brought, carrying
Yeah.
all the stuff that Serena requested.
After which, she does the same to the hair.
Which, might I add, is absolutely mortified of everything that's happening.
Yes, but this time, with the hair, she looks to it, and after, gutting it, she puts the wolf cubs down, and parts of what she takes out of the hair, she offers to the wolf cubs. And as she does this, so flesh to the earth, returning to nourish the plants, flesh of the dead to the living, to nourish new growth.
Okay.
Once the blood has drained, she would go around the area and basically counterclockwise and spray it in, all around. Blood to sanctify the space where life, death, and growth meet. The forest is life, the forest is growth, the forest is death. All three are part of the same. All three cannot be taken apart without breaking the natural order.
Very good. As you do this, I need you to roll me just a very quick int and, let's say, academics for this.
Okay.
It's very low difficulty because I assumed this would come up during your research, even if it is tangential. There you go.
1, 2.
Yeah, that's plenty. So you'd know that young cubs are usually not... Well, if they're very, very young, they usually only drink the milk from their mothers. And if they're a bit older, few weeks old, they can eat food that's been previously chewed by their parent by licking the parent's muzzle. Phobos and Deimos, as soon as you present the meat, they don't seem very interested at first. But as the setup develops and you finish putting all the pieces into place, Olivia excuses themselves to check on the project the eldest has ordered. And as soon as Olivia leaves, both the cubs go feral on the pieces of the rabbit that you've offered. They tear at it with their undeveloped fangs. They rip it apart and devour it. And as they do, as they finish licking their lips clean, both of them look to you, and you notice something odd. They both seem to suffer from at least a similar condition that you did not notice before. While their eyes are naturally this brownish green, you see this vivid blue on the right eye of Phobos and on the left eye of Deimos. And as both of them look at you, it's almost like the rest of the world fades and those blue eyes shine brighter, observing you.
Serena does a bow. I greet you. Lord of the forest, Lord of the bogs, Lord of death and soul. He who forges life in you when it's time for it to return.
A thought develops in your mind, not too dissimilar from what you hear from the cobweb, only extremely, extremely distinct, sending almost a shiver up your spine. Only two words manifest. A test. And as you hear these words, the two wolves seem to regain their own consciousness and begin licking at the area where you left the rabbit pieces.
A test. Is Iris to assume that the test shall now begin?
Well, you look to your surroundings, you see the displays you've made. The only source of continuity from all of this, apart from the decay of the carcasses, are the two wolves.
Iris nods and is like, I mean, I've assumed. So, she's going to pick up the two cups. Well, first, actually, she's going to take down the carcass of the wolf and bury it, because it shouldn't be hanging.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, after that, she will basically clean up the areas and burn incense in the place. And then she will pick up Phobos and Deimos and say, well, let's go home for a little bit until you grow just a bit more. And then you will become great big wolves. I'll be your adopted mother for now. And she basically just, takes the wolves and goes towards the cathedral.
Mm-hmm. As you say this to the wolves, they seem quite oddly amicable to your words. They don't understand it, but whatever you say seems to resonate with them to some extent.
And as she walks with them, she's like, she speaks to them that given fate and the abundance of prey here, most likely you would have perished. But instead now, I shall teach you how to be an apex predator. I may not have your form, but I have fangs just as you. And I fear not the hunter that threatens your kind.
The cubs. First, Phobos seems to simply rest in one of your arms. Its head presses against the joint of your elbow, essentially nuzzling itself in the space between your ribs and your arm. Deimos, on the other hand, seems to almost sit and perch its paws on your chest, reaching up to lick your chin and your lips. In quite an odd, macabre display of affection, as it licks off the blood of its own mother from your lips.
Iris feels an odd sense of satisfaction and communion. Something like more communion with nature that she felt as a human, or and even after her death. There is like a sense of balance. If before, as a vampire, there was always this like feeling of being out of the, like order of life, there is now like something else.
And as you make your way to the cathedral, carrying your newfound
Packmates.
packmates, we will end tonight's session here. I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you next week in Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. Good night.